Welcome back for another video. Welcome to FPL Team Talk, a new series on this channel every Tuesday, going through all the most popular talking points of the week and packed with other FPL info for your teams. I'm trying out a reshuffle to the video schedule on the channel, so just to explain the reshuffle, I used to do the final thoughts videos every Friday, but I've obviously added the additional series to the channel with Tom Dollymore's team selections, the #1 all-time FPL manager. So those are now going to be on Fridays, which basically allows us to get the most up-to-date info and opinions from Tom, rather than doing it on Tuesdays, which is really early for a team selection. So, Team Talk goes on Tuesdays, with my team selection to follow every Wednesday, the experts Thursdays, and then we'll hear from Tom, his team and transfer plans every Friday. And that, in a nutshell, means that there's now daily content all 5 weekdays on the channel. So, welcome to FPL Team Talk. First question from Gu JYT. Should we keep Bruno Fernandes, given that he's playing a lot deeper? Yeah, I mean, last season, without Cunha and Bumo Sesko, he was playing really advanced, which is his best role. Bruno alongside, Casemiro, Garte just doesn't work. Fulham overran the midfield last match. It was brilliant for Marco Silva. Bruno's just not good in duels, and he's not fast enough to play that role. And playing deeper, he's obviously further from goal involvements on average. You can see from his passes received heat map last season versus this one for the first couple of game weeks that he's on the ball deeper. It is a concern for sure. But in the very short term, he's an easy hold, like it's Burnley home next. Even as centre mid, he could arguably be the best captain in Gameweek 3 for that fixture at Old Trafford. The heat maps, by the way, from the Scout members area. It's another one of the perks you get there. I basically just entered Bruno on the player comparison tool twice, and then I selected last season on this one. Use my link below to get 40% off membership. It's worth mentioning that it's entirely possible Amram changes things and does play more advanced next match. Like, Mainu really deserves to be starting, which is kind of a secondary issue that he's having to navigate as well. There's even rumours that he'd be open to a move. Keep Bruno for Gameweek 3, the fixture is just such an obvious hold in my opinion, and then decide after the break what to do with him. There's loads of great ways you can go from Bruno if need be, like Semenyo's got Brighton home after the break, Gakpo's got Sunderland away, etc. Question from Bacon Man. If players are price dropping, then should we still keep them? In my earlier seasons playing FPL, I made the mistake of letting price changes dictate my transfers. Like, fundamentally, what actually matters in FPL? Well, it's points, isn't it? So points over team value always. Obviously, having extra money can help you afford a better team later in the season, but there are always good, cheaper alternatives, and that's something we forget. Well, let's say you wanted Watkins for 9 million, you can't afford him. Well, Ekitike's right there and a little bit cheaper. If you can't afford Romero, just get Van der Ven. I remember a couple of years ago, I was really annoyed I couldn't quite afford Bowen on my early wildcard, so I went for Gordon instead, who was 5.5 mil, and that was the year that he got 183 points for only 5.5 mil. He ended up carrying my season. Now, obviously, if a player's injured, then what lots of managers do is they do sell them early during the week if they're going to fall in price, let's say Wednesday night, for example. I sometimes do this myself just to retain some team value and get rid of an injured player I was ready to sell him. However, if you own the player and you're still not totally convinced they're a bad pick, or maybe they've got a good fixture, then points over value always. Like Verts, I know he's got Arsenal next and he's just dropped in price, but he comes back from the international break against Burnley and Everton. So there's nothing wrong with keeping him for those games rather than selling him just to save 0.1 mil. Live FPL and Fantasy Football Scout do price change predictions. There's other ones out there as well, but they're the most accurate. Scout uses Live FPL's predictions, so it's the same data on both sites. Kurt says, why didn't you tell us to triple captain Timber? Yeah, that one's on me, that's my bad. If you did have to triple captain someone really random Gameweek 3, who would you guys go with out of interest? I think my rogue pick would be Barnes against Leeds maybe, or perhaps Cunha against Burnley. Speaking of, actually, Casual Person asks, what's the best team for Gameweek 3? So I've added a new segment for these called Focal's Dream Team. So every week I'm going to pick what I think is the best team for this week only. Obviously it's never going to end up as the actual best team in terms of the exact team of the week, 11 players. Because you're always going to have random players, like Ballard hitting a haul. But it's basically a free hit guide every week all season as well. So the team is Kelleher in goal, it's Dorgu, Pedro Porro and Livramento in defence, Salah, Cunha, Bruno, Barnes and Reinders in midfield, and then it's Strand Larsen and Haaland up front. How many have you got from the dream team this week? I've basically targeted Newcastle against Leeds, Man United against Burnley and Man City against Brighton. Strand Larsen's still in the rumour mill of that potential move to Newcastle. Apparently they've rejected a bid, but they could follow up with a bigger bid. I'd actually leave him in the team if that transfer happens really fast and he's set to start. But I do hope he stays. I think Wolves are probably getting relegated if he leaves. I think Thiago also works as a nice cheaper alternative for 6 million. He's up against Sunderland. Another new segment, we're going to look at the top clean sheet odds and projected goals for the game week, colour coordinated. These are lifted directly from the Focal app or FPL.page. So this game week, Man United got the best clean sheet odds, 47% chance given against Burnley. Chelsea 38% against Fulham in second. And then it's Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, Man City and Newcastle. For the projected goals, United are the winner again, 2.3 for them, hence I went with a double attack in the dream team. I honestly don't mind triple attack, if you wanted to go Mbeumo as well on a free hit. Chelsea 2.1 goals, so hopefully Palmer makes the team. City 1.9 goals, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool all 1.6 goals. I'm going to stay patient with my Villa attackers. I've got Rodgers and Watkins, but they're going to be on incredibly thin ice if they don't deliver again this weekend. Captaincy rankings for Game Week 3, so the top 3 players. I've gone Haaland number 1 for that Brighton game. I'm expecting a big response from City in an easier fixture to last game week. He'd actually be my captain if I had him. I've gone Bruno second. He's still really capable of hauling, even if he does play centre mid again. And for all we know, Amram could line up differently, and then he looks like suddenly the best captain if he's playing the cam. Gut feeling says there'll probably be 3 or so goals in that game, so I've actually gone with Cunha in third place as well as the sort of super differential captain choice. He really should have had a brace last match. The captaincy widget on the app's got Bruno top, 5 stars. Haaland's on 4, so first and second flip there. And then it's Salah, Cunha and Mbeumo. Just on Salah actually, I could have gone with Salah third place in my rankings. He's just not blown me away the first couple of game weeks, and Arsenal I think is the toughest opponent right now for a Liverpool attacker in my eyes. I'd expect City to be a really tough game as well, but a more open game than against Arsenal. Who are the most transferred players around the world? Most bought, most sold. João Pedro has over 500,000 new owners already, which is actually quite frightening as a non-owner. I really need Watkins and Strand Larsen to show up this week. 3 blanks in a row would be absolutely killer if João Pedro does well again. Semenyo, 475,000 purchases already. Richarlison, Wood, Ekitike and Timber up there. I'm surprised 296,000 to buy in Timber before Liverpool away of all fixtures. I mean, that's the worst fixture you can have right now. I know he scored 24 points, but still, that's crazy. Palmer is the most sold. I think he'll be well past 1 million sales by the deadline. We're waiting to hear the extent of the injuries still. They're doing scans. If he's only out for Game Week 3, I'll actually consider holding him, but if it's any longer than that, he's gone. I'll talk through where I'm at in the team selection video and the Palmer situation in tomorrow's video, so make sure you're subscribed. Frimpong, Saka, Aït-Nouri also being heavily sold given the injuries. Watkins also up there. It seems like a lot of people are going Watkins to João Pedro. I'm going to give Watkins at least another week anyway. Martin says, why should we not panic yet, only asking for a friend? There's many reasons not to, even if you've had a crap couple of first game weeks. I mean, mine haven't been great either. First of all, I've got a widget on the app and it tracks the top 25 all-time FPL managers. These guys have got consistently elite rank finishes in FPL. Have a guess of what the average rank is in that league. This is among the top 25 best ever FPL players. What do you think it is? Average of 1 million rank, 2 million? 5.4 million is the average rank. And yet, by the time we get to Game Week 38, they'll pretty much all do extremely well. Another one for you. F_analytic posted a great chart on Twitter the other day. It's basically tracking how managers get on over the season, and there is a trend towards good managers starting slowly, and it takes a while for things to shake out. What I'll do is I'm going to read what he wrote, because he said it best. When does rank really matter in FPL? Every year you see managers panicking after Game Week 1 saying things like, I'm ranked 1 million plus, it's season over. But is it actually the case? Looking at the Elite 1000s groups past seasons, early ranks are all over the place, with the game getting tougher each year because of more players, better content, sharper tools. Starting ranks have become even more volatile. But if you track the trend, something interesting appears. Around Game Week 15, the chaos starts to settle. By then, ranks usually begin to stabilise and the overall trajectory of the season becomes clearer. From the data, being inside the top 500k by Game Week 15 looks like a solid position to push towards a strong finish. Before that, even a bad start isn't terminal, there's still plenty of ground to make up. I'll link his account below, the words of encouragement very appreciated. So yeah, even top 500k by Gameweek 15 gives you the foundation to finish really well. I mean, last season I was about 3 million at Gameweek 7 and still finished top 5k. Obviously a stronger start does make it all easier, but nothing's impossible. And of course there's more chips than ever being used right now. Like, there's over 1 million chips used just last game week. So stay patient and keep making good decisions. Roops asks, how long do you give players a chance without returning before you move them on? When I'm buying a player, I'm personally looking at the next 4 or 5 game weeks, obviously unless it's a short-term punt before a chip or something like that. Unless the fundamentals have changed in some way after you bought them, just stick to the plan whenever possible. That's why I'd like to roll again this week. Like, not a lot has actually changed in my team. I feel like the players are still good choices overall, and I spent the time researching my lineup, so I'm going to trust them. An example of how fundamentals might change, something like injuries to that player or their teammates significantly hindering the team. Maybe their role's not what we hoped it would be, see Bruno. Or maybe they're off penalties, or the team is massively underperforming, like West Ham's a good example. But if there's signs and the fundamentals are there, then it's good to stay patient and trust your picks. If I buy a player and they blank 3 times in a row with 1 XG every match, I'm absolutely keeping them. Give me a player that's underperforming with good underlying data versus a player that's in a purple patch and can't sustain it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Do hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you soon for the next one.